Well, Manson would have been filming it in 2 minutes if he freaking stepped 3 inches to the right.
Yeah, Manson almost killed us. There we go. All right. Here, I'll scoot over so you can.
Yeah, Greg Papalukas was around. I gotta watch him. I gotta keep one eye. I got one eye on the camera, one eye on Greg.
Where's the hole?
I'll edit it here. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Experience Hockey Talk, Serious Hockey Talk for serious hockey fans. And we are coming to you live from the MCW Pro Wrestling Tribute to the Legends convention and live event here in Joppa, Maryland. You know, Bernie, last night the Cats played their second to last preseason game. Tomorrow they play their last preseason game. And this week they start the regular season. And I think this is a great chance to preview the Washington Capitals. We previewed all other 30 teams. It's now the Washington Capitals' turn. And real quick, for all of you watching us on Facebook Live, we understand that the video is in a very odd thing. I am going to take it down after the show, edit it, and fix it for us.
Oh my God. Hey guys, first of all, if you're anywhere close to Joppa, Maryland, and you want to meet Goldberg, the Steiner brothers, Bill Apter, Gary Michael Capetta, Bubba Ray Dudley, Christian, the list goes on and on. The MCW Pro Wrestling Convention will be going on until 4 o'clock. Some of them will be signing till about 2. Get down here, meet the guys that you, if you're a wrestling fan, that you've seen in the past that might have driven you to be a wrestling fan. I know it's a hockey show, but guys, this is a once a year experience that you must get to if you have any inkling of being a wrestling fan. Next year, it's usually the last week in September. If you're 3-4 hours away, make a plan, do a weekend in the lovely Maryland area, and come on out to Tribute to the Legends. It's going to be a great night, and there's a wrestling show at 6:30 as well. So that's a gratuitous plug that I definitely had to do since we are here today live.
And ladies and gentlemen, we do know that the camera is sideways. Thank you, Eric. I know you're going to make fun of me for it tomorrow when I play against you, Street Sharks versus Gwendolyn Knight.
Do it, Eric.
It is a technical issue that we're going to work with. Luckily for me, I am a video editor, so I will re-edit the video, put it up on YouTube, and I'll make sure it gets up here properly so you can all see us. Yes, Eric, we know the camera is sideways. Facebook Live did something weird. I can't help that.
It's Facebook Live, it's always weird.
Yeah, it's Facebook Live, it's always weird. Facebook Live hates me, okay? It hates me. But with that said, Bernie, the Washington Capitals, last season they were 55-19-8 with 118 points. They're first in the Metro. They were the President's Trophy winner for the second consecutive season. Their key additions is right winger Devontae Smith-Pelly. Key departures were defenseman Carl Alsner, Kevin Shattenkirk, Nate Schmidt, Justin Williams, and Marcus Johansson. Keynote for this is after falling short for a second year in a row to, again, Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins in the second round, the Washington Capitals find themselves in a state where they are now not the favorites to win the Stanley Cup. After losing 2 key forwards and 2 key defensemen, could the infusion of some new homegrown talent take the Washington Capitals to a surprise run for the Stanley Cup?
You know, it might be a blessing in disguise. Yeah, they lost a lot of goals, and a lot of people in the last week or two have been talking about it. Oh, the Caps have lost 90-some goals. They've lost a pillar of their defense for almost the last decade. But guess what? You see the Pittsburgh Penguins, you see the Chicago Blackhawks, you see the LA Kings. It wasn't all a veteran-laden lineup. It helps every so often, but you have that young infusion of talent, and like we said on this show, in a way, and they said it in their postseason interviews, some of the Caps did, this team was kind of too healthy, which is a hilarious term to use. But when you only lose a guy at a time for maybe a week or two, I mean, Oshie was gone for about 10 days. Burakovsky was gone for about 3 weeks. 3 to 6 weeks. But you really didn't lose many guys. But you didn't have to dip down to Hershey. You had Braun up for a little bit yet for a cup of tea. Boyd was brought up just to be an emergency. There wasn't that need to bring in some young talent. Now it's not a need; it's a necessity. And I think with the young talent here, first-round picks still, there's first-round picks that haven't gotten the chance to touch the ice as a member of the Washington Capitals until October 5th when they touch it in Ottawa. And it's going to be a very exciting and interesting way. And if people sleep on this team, I think this year they bite them in the rear end.
Yeah. And now let's start off with the goaltenders. We're going to do goaltenders now. In the next segment, we'll do the forwards. In the last segment, we'll do defensemen and talk about what some of our predictions could potentially be. We're not a big prediction show, but we will do some.
Good.
I normally don't like doing predictions at the beginning of the season because most of them don't pan out anyways. So, but starting with goaltenders, obviously number one guy that you look at is Braden Holtby.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Last season, he played 63 games. He had 2.07 goals against average, a .925 save percentage with a 42-13-6 record with 9 shutouts. In the playoffs, however, was a complete reversal. He had 13 games played with a 2.47 goals against average, a .909 save percentage, and a 7-6 record with no shutouts. A key thing is for him is that he's going to have to turn it around, especially when it comes to playoff time. Do you think maybe fewer games will be key for Braden Holtby going into the playoffs to keep him fresh? Because I think he led all goaltenders since he's become a number one in shots faced and minutes played.
There could be two-edged, but I mean the thing is with Braden Holtby, the more he plays, the better he gets. I always say in the last couple of years, I've talked to a lot of Caps pundits and guys you see on CSN, soon to be NBC Washington. You see all these guys. I've talked to a lot of them on Facebook, not on Twitter, but on Facebook, Facebook messaging and everything, and we say the same things. This team, when it gets to December and they have the schedule every other night, they always seem to find a way to kick it in gear and hit that next level. Both years they've won the President's Trophy, they have kicked it in gear in December, and they go on a ridiculous run through the All-Star break or the Olympic break, whatever break it is. It's the All-Star break again this year, but they take that run, and every other night, and Holtby's usually getting in that goal every other night. Now, I do know they want to get Gruby at least to 25 games. I still think he should have been on that Jennings Trophy. It's crazy, a little nitpicky. There's a game short, but
and here's a statistic. Since 2014, that little statistic I brought up. Here's the official stat. Since 2014, Braden Holtby has started more games and faced more shots than any other goaltender. That includes Carey Price, who is a workhorse for the Montreal Canadiens. That includes Henrik Lundqvist, who is a workhorse for the New York Rangers. And those are two top caliber goaltenders.
But you also think that both of them missed significant time with injuries in that stretch. I think Cam Talbot's right on Holtby's heels with his 73 games last year with Edmonton. But you saw that he got on the workload. But again, you can't do back-to-back years. I mean, you see the Penguins, all these guys that do 80, 90 games. I mean, the reason why they're able to repeat is Matt Murray only played 30 or 40 games for the Penguins the first cup run, and then he was out. And then Fleury took the first 2 rounds last year. So there's two sides to that. I mean, some guys thrive on the workload. Some guys, a little extra rest could help them. It all depends on where they are in the standings. You get Gruby in there early enough, so if you need those points in March and April, you can still count on both goaltenders, but you're going to lean toward the Vezina Trophy winner from 2 years ago and the runner-up last year.
Yeah, and then, of course, you also have Philip Grubauer, as we've been talking about. 24 games played, a 2.04 goals against average, a .926 save percentage, 3 shutouts, and a 13-6-2 record last season. He did appear in one playoff game, but I did not put down his stats because it was in a loss, and the stats, it's a little misleading. It really is.
Well, it was pretty much to get Holtby a blow for the next game. And with Gruby's concern, I didn't think we were going to be talking about Phil Grubauer, honest to God. Now,
honestly, in that spot, I thought we were going to be talking about Phoenix Copley.
I thought we were going to be talking either about a backup veteran brought in, or, like you said, Phoenix Copley. We thought Grubauer, especially after his quarterfinal performance for the Swiss against Canada, with Gerard Gallant on the bench in the World Championships, I was like, that's the final straw. Phil Grubauer might be the starter out, or splitting time with Fleury out in Vegas next year, but of course they kind of coveted Nate Schmidt just a little.
Yeah, and it's actually very interesting when we talk about, we keep going back and talking about the expansion draft and stuff like that. The number of goalies that they took was very surprisingly low, and the number of defensemen was very surprisingly high.
I think that's
it's going to start, and we're going to find out very soon how much that's going to bite Vegas in the butt, because a lot of guys are going to have to go on waivers.
Tuesday at 5 o'clock is going to be a very telling time for the Vegas Golden Knights, because they still have those 10 one-way defenseman contracts. Someone's got to go down, and there's a lot of teams just frothing at the mouth. Vegas, George McPhee, get your draft picks before they get the waivers, because you aren't going to see them if you hit waivers.
Yeah, and then Eric, he said when you have Grubauer, the winning is backup. You have to sit the king when he gets in a funk, and that's coming from a goalie's perspective.
Yep.
I actually agree with that. You got it. Sometimes it's good to have them play, get themselves out of that funk a little bit, but at the same time, you got to sit them down and just have them watch. I know that, from my perspective, I've been benched several times and been told just to watch and pick up on what they're doing and just refocus your game.
Right.
And that's what Grubauer definitely should be able to have that opportunity to get in there and help give Braden Holtby those opportunities to refocus.
Well, you think back-to-back games. I think there's 12 or 13 on the schedule this year. It's not as many as were last year because of the condensed schedule with the World Cup is concerned. But you're going to have those two both play a game on the back-to-back situation. The thing about Braden Holtby through his young career with the Capitals is every time he has a clunker, and all goalies have that 6-goal oopsie moment or 4 goals where they look like garbage, 4 goals on 12 shots. Holtby always has a bounce-back game of either a shutout or 1-goal masterpiece. You rarely see Braden Holtby put up back-to-back clunkers. And that's what made the playoffs so weird, because the playoffs was his bread and butter. His goals against was under 2 every year in the playoffs he's played until last year. Last year was an anomaly for him, and that one extra goal that the Caps could have used was the difference. Again, a bounce here, a bounce there, and Pittsburgh's going on, the Caps are going on.
All right, and then we're going to look at one more goaltender, and that is Phoenix Copley. Copley, 41 games played in the minors last season. He had a 2.25 goals against average and a .924 save percentage with a 26-11-3 record. We have Vitek Vanacek, who's going to be his number 2 down in Hershey. Copley will be the number 1. Copley obviously is the guy who will come up if something happens to either Grubauer or Holtby. What are your thoughts, especially on the fact that we were able to get him back in the Kevin Shattenkirk trade last season?
That was a huge side deal that they did with the Blues to get Phoenix Copley back. I think it was a side deal on an add-on after the fact, after the Shattenkirk part was for Brad Malone or something like that.
Well, when you kind of look at it, it's like Zach Sanford for Phoenix Copley and then the 2 draft picks for Kevin Shattenkirk.
Indeed, but at the same time, Copley's going to be, like you said, the number 1. You want him getting the bulk of the work. Vanacek's going to get his 20 and 30 games down there. And then if, God forbid, one of those guys get hurt, Adam Carlson can slide up from South Carolina. Big college goaltender they signed as a unrestricted free agent out of college, I think it was 2 years ago, last 2 springs ago. They signed him to be that guy, that stopgap, just in case one of the goalies have to come up from Hershey. So Copley, it was a coup getting him back. And that TJ trade looks better and better every day for the Capitals.
Yeah, except on the draft picks part. So, but with that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to break down all of the forwards for the Washington Capitals. This is really
Holy Zach. My God, Zach in a 3-piece. Shin, please tell me I just didn't see Zach in a 3-piece.
You're not going to set me on fire.
Wow.
So you saw that.
It's a good look. Huh? No. We took a quick break.
Okay, no, he's Jewish, so.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You see the question by Chris. Caps Trey Stevenson for a D guy?
I'd be maybe if George McPhee wanted to answer the phone.
So wait, you're doing live on that, and you're checking for comments on that.
Because it's sideways. For some reason, it went weird.
Okay.
So I'm using this for comments, and this is actually a faster way for us to track things.
All right.
Because normally the phone is like kind of over here.
And you know what's funny? I never thought live could go sideways.
Yeah, it can.
I did it once when they first started, and
For some reason, it went funny on us. So like, if you look at our feed,
yeah,
but like every other time we do it, it's always the right way. So I got to fix this in post-production.
there's always portrait.
Yeah, I'm going to be fixing this in post-production tomorrow.
This is why I don't do live, because number one is portrait, number two, all the scripting on your clothes is backwards.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. When we have a camera. We have a camera over at the WBGR. I'm usually focused on that more than that, just because it's right side up, not upside down. You know. I don't know why Facebook Live doesn't have like a thing where you can like click to depending on what you're trying to film.
It's them and Instagram.
Huh?
It's them and Instagram.
Yeah. I think Instagram's. Yeah.
Periscope's the same way.
Yeah, I mean, they're the same company, yeah.
And completely got their act together. So, all right, let's kick it up a notch.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Experience Hockey Talk, Serious Hockey Talk for serious hockey fans. I don't know why the breaks didn't play as loudly as the opening music, but okay, whatever.
It's called post-production.
Yeah, it's called post-production for a reason. And so, ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to be looking at the centers for the Washington Capitals. A lot of centers to talk about. And an interesting note about the centers missed a combined 2 games all season. 2. First off, you got your number one center, Nicholas Backstrom, 82 games played, 23 goals, 63 assists, 86 points, and 38 penalty minutes. Obviously, he led the Capitals in points. He's your most consistent player, most underrated player in the league for the Washington Capitals. Then you have Evgeny Kuznetsov, also 82 games played, 19 goals, 40 assists, 59 points, 46 penalty minutes. You have Lars Eller as your third line center, 81 games played, 12 goals, 13 assists, 25 points, 36 penalty minutes. And then Jay Beagle, your fourth line center, 81 games played, 13 goals, 17 assists, and 30 points with 22 penalty minutes last season. Now you look at those 4 centers. The Caps are locked, stocked, and loaded at center. They have the pieces. And the only other player who I could potentially see making the roster, or as you know, our good friend Shaggy brought up in the question during the last segment, is this guy could potentially be trade bait. And that's Chandler Stevenson, who in the AHL last season had 72 games played with 10 goals, 28 assists, and 38 points for 42 penalty minutes. What is your thoughts on the look of the Washington Capitals down the middle?
This is why I still think the Capitals are going to be big this year. It's just because down the middle. Where do you win in the playoffs? Down the middle, from goaltender out to center. You have 4 guys at center ice still that, like you said, missed 2 games combined. You cannot go wrong with having Lars Eller centering your third line. He's been excellent on faceoffs in one of the few bright spots preseason-wise. Is his faceoff percentage? I think it's over 60% at the dot, especially with the new rules and everything. So it's a nice thing, nice problem to have. Where I'd rather fill in on the wings. It's a little better for a guy to break in on the wing, especially if they're a wing. It's a little tougher when you're breaking a center and trying to play him a wing, similar to if you're trying to put a skill guy on a fourth line. You want to bring them in the first 5 to 10 games, and when we get the D, there's a great point from last night's game I'm going to bring up pertaining to keeping guys together. You want the familiarity to start, especially when you're on a level that is a level up from the AHL. Having Backstrom and Kuznetsov, I mean, either one of them can play with Ovi and Oshie and all of them. That's a blessing to have a 1A and a 1B.
And I think the fact that Lars Eller was able to have a defined role last season, he actually knew what he was supposed to do, and that he didn't have that question mark around him when he was playing for Montreal or St. Louis in the beginning part of his career. You know, that helps a long way too for a guy like Lars Eller, and he's doing a very great job at the third line center position.
But I'll go with one big red mark on this, especially on Lars Eller and Jay Beagle, and I'll even throw Tyler Graovac into that mix. He's a center. He's a guy who can play center for you too. They need production out of those bottom 6 in the playoffs. That was the difference of that series. Was the third and fourth lines did absolutely nothing aside from Tom Wilson in either series. That's got to change if they're going to win a championship. You see the teams that win the championships. You see Pittsburgh last year with the Connor Sherrys come up, the Brian Russ come up, the Beninos, the Matt Cullens. They find a way to find a goal when the Crosbys and Malkins aren't hitting. When the Backstrom and Kuznetsovs aren't hitting, you need a Lars Eller, a Tom Wilson, a Jay Beagle to put that goal in at the right time. So, with everything is concerned, the center ice position is a strength for the Capitals, and they can trade off of that with Chandler Stevenson. I love Travis Boyd's game, but he is going to be a call-up in case someone gets hurt. But he's got a lot to like in his game. But Chandler Stevenson is someone that if you really feel like you need another veteran deal on this team, I mean, it's a numbers game there too, as we're going to cover in the next segment. That might be a play you'd make, especially if a couple of these guys struggle out of the gate.
Yeah, and then moving on to the left wing, you have Alex Ovechkin, who played 82 games, 33 goals, 36 assists, and 69 points with 50 penalty minutes. Andre Burakovsky had 64 games played, 12 goals, 23 assists, 35 points, and 14 penalty minutes. And then Brett Conley with 66 games played, 15 goals, 8 assists, 23 points, and 40 penalty minutes. Now, key guy we picked up in a trade last season during the offseason was Tyler Grovak from Minnesota Wild. We actually picked him up for the purpose of actually protecting Tom Wilson in the expansion draft. One of the interesting things is I've been hearing positive things about Tyler Grovak in the preseason so far right now. Another person we've been hearing very positive things from has been Nathan Walker and Jacob Vrana as well. Last season in the AHL, Nathan Walker had 58 games played with 11 goals, 12 assists, and 23 points with 33 penalty minutes. And Jacob Vrana in the AHL, 49 games played, had 19 goals, 17 assists, 36 points with 28 penalty minutes. But in the NHL, 21 games played, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points, and 2 penalty minutes for Jacob Vrana. These are the three who are probably going to have to step up the most this season. And I'm not going to lie, maybe a fourth line of Tyler Grovak, Jay Beagle, and Devontae Smith-Pelly, or a Nathan Walker could be a very good fourth line for the Washington Capitals.
Well, Nathan Walker is going to bring speed to that fourth line. Just last night again, he is not shy to put a shoulder in someone's chest and knock him flat. The thunder from down under will be heard all the way back to his native Australia this year. I guarantee it. This kid's going to be a guy that's a sleeper.
You said Australia? Because they have him as billed as Cardiff, England in the hockey news.
Well, that was where he was born, but he was raised in down there with the shrimps on the barbie, mate. But with him is concerned with Grayovac, I mean, that's a blessing in disguise. He's been one of their most pleasant surprises this preseason. Flying all over the ice, one of the few guys that have actually dented the twine for the Capitals on the forward ranks. It's going to be very interesting, those last 3 cuts, because Barry Trotz likes to go 13, 1 extra forward, 1 extra D. He doesn't keep 23 like most teams will, especially with Hershey being so close. You're going to have only 1 extra forward and 1 extra D. It's going to be very interesting to see who makes it down, who's going to be able to go down, because a lot of these guys do have to clear waivers. Jacob Vrana, you mentioned, he needs to be the X factor this year. He's that guy that needs to step up. We've already said about Burakovsky and how he needs to step up. He understands that, and then you see glimpses that he's going to be, from the playoffs last year, when he finally started playing with Nicholas Backstrom, he's going to get a shot right out of the gate and play with Backstrom and Oshie. Jacob Vrana needs to show, and he's going to probably be on the right side with Ovi and Kuzi to start. I know Tom Wilson's going to get a shot, and some other guys are going to get a shot on that right side, but I think Jacob Vrana is going to get a long look early in the season on that right side to see if he can fulfill that first-round talent, or are we going to be talking about him in the same breath that Eric Fair got picked before Ryan Getzlaf, with Jacob Vrana being picked before Dylan Larkin.
And going to right wing real quick, TJ Oshie, he played 68 games with 33 goals, 23 assists, 56 points, 36 penalty minutes. Tom Wilson played all 82 games, had 7 goals, 12 assists, and 19 points with 133 penalty minutes, which was another decrease for Tom Wilson. And then Devontae Smith-Pelly, who they signed from the New Jersey Devils, 53 games played, 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points, and 12 penalty minutes in a very injury-plagued season. And then, of course, you have Riley Barber, who has already been sent down to Hershey last season in the AHL. He had 39 games played, 13 goals, 14 assists, 27 points, and 12 pins. And on the PTO, you have Alex Chason, who last season with the Calgary Flames played 81 games, 12 goals, 12 assists, 24 points, and 46 pins, and shares a birthday with me, October 1st.
Well, hopefully October 1st is a great day for Alex Chason signing his new Washington Capitals contract. Again, it's all going to be a numbers game. I can see Smith Pelly getting sent down if they sign Chason. If Chason doesn't get signed to a contract, then I think the numbers are going to work out on who's going to be going down on October 1st, October 2nd. But with Smith Pelly, you've got a guy, another first-round pick, Anaheim first-round pick several years ago. He's bounced around, but every time he's bounced around, that first several games he's played for a new team, whether it's Montreal or New Jersey, it always has an uptick. He always finds a way to put some pucks in the net. He's got the talent. He can be a 20-goal scorer if he gets enough ice time. The thing is, like you mentioned, with all the guys you have on the wings and interchangeability, you're going to see Vrana play on the right side. You're going to see Brett Connolly on the right side. You'll probably see Burakovsky flip-flopping sometimes during the year. You can see Smith Pelly doing the same thing. Chason can play both wings. You have a lot of flexibility with this lineup, too. And with TJ Oshie in that brand-new spanking deal of his, and Tom Wilson being asked to do more offensively, hopefully power play time will accompany that. Hopefully some time with Ovechkin and Kuznetsov. I think he might be a better fit early on, especially against some of your bigger teams, to be able to be more of a space eater to let Kuznetsov be the world-class playmaker that he is.
Yeah, and you know, and I want to talk about this because we have plenty of time in this segment to continue to talk about the forwards. I think, and we'll talk more about it as well when we get to the defensemen in our next segment, is that, you know, Barry Trotz wants to see double digits from Tom Wilson. I understand that people want to see Vrana on that second line right away. Vrana, the way the line should be set up, it should be Ovechkin, Backstrom, Oshie, Burakovsky, Kuznetsov, Wilson. I'd probably put Connolly on the fourth line. I mean, I'm sorry, but Mike Vogel put out a thing yesterday when they did their pregame thing before they played Carolina, and it came off as very delusional of Brett Connolly on the second line with Kuznetsov and Burakovsky. I'm sorry, Connolly should never have been re-signed in the first place, especially in the fact that Barry Trotz didn't trust him in the playoffs. When you can't trust the guy in the playoffs, he shouldn't even have a roster spot. And honestly, I would put Connolly on the fourth line, Vrana on the third line, maybe put a Tyler Grove back there with him as well. I would start Vrana on the third line, give him the looks, because if you want Tom Wilson to get double-digit goals, you can't just say, oh, we'll put you on the third line and then bump him down to the fourth line immediately after a few weeks, which is what they did to him last season. You know, he needs to be able to be in that position, just like a Vrana. Vrana needs to be in that position as well. It's very tough. And Burakovsky needs to step up, just like what you're saying. Burakovsky needs to at least get 30 goals this season. Because, you know, one stat that we looked at was Alex Ovechkin at 33 goals, which everyone complains and says, oh, Ovi only had 33 goals, he didn't have 50. You know, which scoring is a paramount nowadays. You know, if Burakovsky can get 30 goals, Tom Wilson can get 25. You know, Oshie played the full season, he would have 50 goals. You know, if these guys can produce, and then we'll talk about some defensemen who we should expect more goals out of, that actually takes a lot of pressure off of Alex Ovechkin to be the top goal scorer of this team.
Well, a lot of those ifs and buts and candy and nuts with all those goal projections you have, some of these guys need to hit the on net sometimes. There's so many shots that go wide off of Ovechkin's stick, off of Oshie's stick. You even see Burakovsky. I mean, they try to pick corners sometimes. Sometimes the best thing, and they talked about it on the pregame the other night, just shoot the thing at the goaltender. I'm saying that's one of the best plays in hockey, especially on an odd man rush. Shoot the thing, let the goaltender pass it to the guy on the other side. Defensemen are flopping on the ice and blocking the shots and everything. Use the goaltender to your advantage and just shoot the thing low, pad side, low far post, and let the other guy clean up the garbage. That's why Grayovac scored the goal the other night. Jay Beagle just put it right on the goalie's pad, kicked it right to Grayovac, and wide open 4x6. You know, they called him the ever-ready batter, Energizer battery up in Minnesota for a reason. That guy has a lot of juice in that 6'5" frame of his. So it's going to be an interesting dichotomy. I just wish the power play would be tweaked a little bit, give a little more movement, give more flexibility to some of these guys. I mean, I always say Tom Wilson was left-handed. He would have 20, 25 goals because they put him on that first power play unit in that Marcus Johansson spot. That still, I mean, even last night, even on the power plays, which very few, I don't know how the Caps weren't getting all these power plays all the other teams were getting last several games. But if you have that power play, someone in front of the net, like the Caps still don't do most of the time, put a guy in front of the net, just shoot the puck. You don't have to be so creative and get into your 1-3-1 and make sure every pass is perfect. Sometimes the grubby, greasy power play goals are the ones you're going to get on a certain night. You know, there's going to be teams that have an aggressive power play. Some have a passive power play that want to block shots all night, like the Rangers of old and Tampa Bay somewhat. So,
and you're touching base on your power play point, especially for a Tom Wilson. You know, maybe throw Tom Wilson in the TXHT slot on the second unit. Because Wilson's a big guy, and that's a guy who can create a lot of chaos in front of the net. And of course, Shaggy, our good friend, is a anti-Wilson, pro-Connolly guy.
I like Connolly too. I mean, Connolly gives you a lot of flexibility. What Trotz likes is flexibility. Connolly, it wasn't Connolly not being trusted in the playoffs as much as he wanted Carl Olsen in the lineup, and the only way he was going to get him in there is to take Brooks Orpik out. And for some reason, Barry Trotz doesn't want to take Brooks Orpik out of the lineup. Well, he should have taken Orpik out of the lineup, put Alster in, and you would have had your 12 forwards, so you could have your 4 lines rolling around. Because when they dominated Pittsburgh in the regular season, they rolled 4 lines all over them.
Before the 7 defensemen, though, Connolly was disappearing in the playoff games.
Well, the Toronto series was a unique series. Yeah, due to the Toronto Maple Leafs had nothing to lose, and it almost bit the Caps in the butt.
Yeah, and, you know, but Connolly couldn't keep up with the Leafs, and he disappeared as a result of it. So, but you know, I think definitely though, you know, Burakovsky's this year. I like to see him get 30 goals and maybe 40 assists. Tom Wilson, I like to see a 20-20 from the guy. You know, 20 goals, 20 assists. I think that'd be really good for Tom Wilson, especially if you keep going on saying you want to see double digits out of him in goals. You got to give him the opportunity. You got to give him the ice time. You got to give him the players to play with to do that. Because he's not going to do it on the third line. He's not going to do it on the fourth line. And the good thing about Tom Wilson is that his penalties have been decreasing every season the last 3 seasons, and I expect another decrease this season.
Well, also I think if even if Burakovsky could get that, eclipse that what Marcus Johansson did last year, and finally get over that 20 goal hole. You know, I mean, you're talking about 30 goals, 25 goals. You know, you want Obi scoring 40 and Oshie scoring 50. The team isn't going to score 4 goals a game unless the goaltenders actually come back to earth. Yeah. And the pads aren't getting shrunk for another year at least. So it's all going to be a matter. Yeah, it's all going to be a matter of situations. I like to see them be more aggressive on the penalty kill. I like to see more shorthanded goals. I mean, Tom Wilson has an underrated speed. Eagle, Grayovac, Nathan Walker, some of those guys might be able to put some young legs into that to make sure you have something like that. My boy Brian Gamble, always on the camera at MCW Pro Wrestling. Joplin, Maryland. Get your butt down here for Tribute to the Legends, the convention. Sorry I went off tangent, but I can't plug this enough. It's a great show to be at. But to your point, everyone gets a slight uptick in goals and Obi comes back to normal. You're going to be leading the league in goals again, and you're going to have guys ready to make major impacts in the playoffs.
But not only that, but I also think it takes a lot of pressure off of Alex Ovechkin as
Amen.
well.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's why I say, you know, Burakovsky needs to do an uptick. And next segment, we'll be talking about the defense.
Yep.
And I'll be mentioning a couple defensemen who I would like to see get double digits in goals, because that would take some of the pressure off of Alex Ovechkin. Not just Alex Ovechkin, but also some of the forwards as well, that have to score all the goals for the Capitals.
We have one big tweak on the power play we've been mentioning that we'll talk about again next segment if you don't get enough of that little suggestion, Blaine Forsythe.
Yeah. So, but you know, wow, we still have time.
I'm fired up, man.
Yeah, he's fired.
I'm fired up, brother.
We're at a convention.
I'm next to the world's most dangerous announcer, Gary Michael Capetta. How can I not be fired up?
And we actually have an Islanders fan in Mikey from the Spirit.
Mike Mondo, good friend of mine, who's a big Islander fan. I'm going to get into a game eventually, so forgive me if I'm bringing an Islander fan to an Islander game.
Hey, we have people watching this feed right now who have to deal with Suds, who's an Islanders fan and is the commissioner of the DCHL.
Well, I'm sorry for that to even be mentioned. That those four-letter words should not be mentioned on the show. Ugh. What a mush.
But, ladies and gentlemen, real quick though, coming up on October 13th through 15th, we have the CSA show in Chantilly, Virginia. Come see Brandon Quinton Adams, who played Jesse Hall, Matt Doherty, who played Les Averman, and Vincent LaRusso, who played Adam Banks in the Mighty Ducks movies on Saturday, October 14th. And then on Sunday, October 15th, you have Alex Ovechkin, Marcel Dion, Brian Trottier, Ed Jacquemin, and Brett Hall, all four Hockey Hall of Famers. They will be there on the Sunday at the CSA show, and you can win a chance for 2 weekend passes to the show that weekend. All you have to do is email Donald at blake4av@aol.com. That is Blake, the number 4av@aol.com to win 2 weekend passes. And when we actually do the MCW experience from 12 to 4, 4:30 to 5:30, and post-show after the live event, we will be announcing other guests that will be at the CSA show on the Saturday. And boy, oh boy, it is a lot of names that are going to be announced on the wrestling side of things.
You're not kidding. I mean, that's going to be a great show. Like I said, right here, tribute to legends. You have Bill Goldberg in the house. You have Christian. You have Bubba Ray Dudley. You have the Steiner brothers. You have the Raging Bull, Manny Fernandez. You have Gary Michael Capetta, Bill Apter, Mike Mondo, and Kenny Doan of the Spirit Squad.
Squad World Order, baby.
Yeah, Sonny's here. Mandy Leone of Ring of Honor is here. You can't not miss something like this. I think Jillian Hall's in the house. You got
Kevin
plenty
Nash will
of
be here
talent.
soon.
I think Kevin Nash is going to be here later today. But you got a plethora of world-class talent, past and present, and a major league card coming to you tonight at Joppa, 6:30 bell time. Great tickets still available. You have a Stairway to Hell match, an exposed turnbuckles match. You guys are thinking, what in the heck is Stairway to Hell? Come up to Joppa, come to the flea market, buy a ticket, and see what the Rage is all about. And the Rage TV title will be on the line as well. In a triple threat match you will not want to miss, and not just because of the three guys in the ring.
And then, of course, ladies and gentlemen, it was announced earlier this week that the Sports Beyond Boundaries Hockey Tournament and Family Fun Day has been officially announced for October 28th. And the game plan is the Experience Hockey Talk live from the Hockey Tournament and Family Fun Day for Sports Beyond Boundaries. Mitchell and Mark, it'll be great to actually work with them. They will have a lot of great things going on. They're going to have, all the family events. They're going to actually have an NHL auction. Yeah, they have procured items from the NHL, and they'll be putting the things up for auction to actually, for all proceeds, going to building a new facility for those with disabilities, so that way they can play sports like hockey and stuff like that. So it'll be really great. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will be talking about the defense of the Washington Capitals going into this upcoming season, plus some other NHL talk. Actually, nice having you here. 2-minute countdown when I do the editing.
So, guys, one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Why can't you get these black guys in the hockey podcast?
Devontae Smith-Pelly's black. If the Capitals would give us the credentials, we would interview him.
Black people like hockey too.
Oh my goodness.
I definitely see these two making the tape.
Maui's a definite. Maui is a definite. There's the Raging Bull.
And I see Jordan. I see Jordan.
Yeah. Ness I think Ness will be able to get through waivers. Even though Ness has a lesser cap number than the 650 minimum contract, him and Grayovac are both guys that are appealing for that aspect. But you're going to keep playing two guys. The cap is going to come in handy. So Jason. I'll talk to him afterwards. He shaved too. Huh? He didn't have a very good night last night. I'll definitely give him that.
Well, we'll be talking about it in 20 seconds.
Get in there, Billy. The Bernie bomb.
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Experience Hockey Talk, Serious Hockey Talk for Serious Hockey fans, live in Joppa, Maryland, at the MCW Arena for MCW Pro Wrestling's Tribute to the Legends convention and live event. Right now, we are in the convention portion of the event, and we are now going to be talking about the Washington Capitals defense going into this season. And we got to start off with the #1 guy on the depth chart, which is John Carlson. Last season he played 72 games, 9 goals, 28 assists, 37 points, 10 penalty minutes. Then you had Matt Niskanen, who had 78 games played, 5 goals, 34 assists, 39 points with 32 penalty minutes. Dmitry Orlov played all 82 games, had 6 goals, 27 assists, 33 points with 51 penalty minutes. And then you have Brooks Orpik, who played 79 games, no goals, 14 assists, 14 points, 48 PEMs. And Taylor Chorney, who had 18 games played, 1 goal, 4 assists, 5 points, and 11 penalty minutes. And then the two that we expect to make the team this season is Madison Bowie, who in the AHL had 34 games played, 3 goals, 11 assists, 14 points, and 28 penalty minutes. And last season in the AHL, Christian Jude, who had 66 games played, 13 goals, 45 assists, 58 points, with 34 penalty minutes. And of course, you also have talent like Tyler Lewington, Aaron Ness, and doing their first years of Hershey, Lucas Johansson and Connor Hobbs.
Depth is definitely not. This is one thing that they have stressed and they've gotten is defensive depth. And don't forget, Colby Williams, Connor Hobbs' partner in Regina, is still down at Hershey after a productive rookie year down at Hershey. So, needless to say, they are 10 to 12 deep. Jonas Siegenthaler's another one. You got a lot of fresh bodies finally making their way into the Capitals lineup. And as much as it stinks that Carl Alster and Nate Schmidt won't be in Capitals uniforms, Carl Alster will be at the home opener, just he'll be in a blue, blanc, and rouge instead of a red, white, and blue jersey that night. So, and he's wearing 22, not 27. Thank you, Alex Galchenyuk. But with the D is concerned, it's all about not giving the puck away. John Carlson, Matt Niskanen, take care of your own end. And with Bowie and Giles, there we go. With Jews and Bowie, that would have been hilarious if I went the other way with that one first. I loved last night what Barry Trotz did with those two. They played together the entire night. They even played on the 6-on-5 when they pulled the goaltender because of familiarity. They played together all last year when Bowie was healthy. He had that very bad, severe tendon tear that cost him half of the year. And a lot of people were worried about, would he be able to take the next level? He's been, in my estimation, the best defenseman on the Capitals roster this preseason. Every time he jumps up, every time he makes a play, it's with purpose. The Kelowna Rocket factory, the WHL, has provided us finally with a guy to play for the Washington Capitals. You've heard of Shea Weber. You heard of Duncan Keith. The list goes on and on and on. Madison Bowie is in that group of guys that are going to be synonymous with the Kelowna defenseman factory. And I could see him provide something, maybe an injury here or there. I could see him getting power play time, especially if you get double minors and 5-minute majors, stuff like that. He's a guy that you can plug in there. But the thing is with defense, and we talked about it and talked about it on the power play. Dmitry Orlov needs to be on that first unit. All due respect to John Carlson, but you want to make Alex Ovechkin's life easier on the power play? Again, give him a place where he can pass it to a one-timer. You can't pass it to Oshie in the diamond area on a one-timer. Backstrom rarely hits the one-timer. I know Carlson does from the far point, but I would rather it going through Ovechkin, where Ovechkin could wind up for his one-timer, but instead one-time it back, and Orlov would have like a valley to shoot at. I mean, with everyone trying to overplay Ovi.
Well, and that brings me to a point of, like I mentioned it about the forwards, Burakovsky, Wilson. We need to see them, hit the 20-30 marks, double digits in goals, especially in assists. We kind of need the same out of John Carlson. We need the kind of the same out of Matt Niskanen and Dmitry Orlov as well. Like, none of them hit 10 goals. None of them hit double digits at all last season. Christian Jude was the only one that hit double digits in goals last season, and he wasn't on the roster at all last season. He was down in Hershey. So for the Washington Capitals, seeing John Carlson get, at the amount of games that he plays, with the power play time that he gets, he should probably be getting around 15 goals. Same with Matt Niskanen. He should be getting around 15 goals. He shouldn't be scoring 5. Dmitry Orlov, with the increased power play time that he's going to get, he should be getting around that 10-15 mark as well. Orlov, honestly, is the one that I could see getting 20 this season in goals, potentially.
With his shot, there's no doubt that he could do that, and that's why also with the other tweak that I'd like to see, make the second power play a shooting power play. If you're going to put Evgeny Kuznetsov, the only time the power play worked against the Penguins was when Kuzi and Baxter were on the ice at the same time, not Marcus Johansson. If you're going to put those guys together on the power play 1, make power play 2 a shooting power play. If you're going to put Tom Wilson's butt in front of the net, have Burakovsky be the one creating, have it be Niskanen and Orlov, or Niskanen and Jews, or Carlson, or whoever gets thrown in that second power play unit. You make them just unleash shot after shot after shot. You want Tom Wilson to score 15, 20, 25 goals? Make him Mike Knuble Jr. in front of the net on the power play. Make him Tim Kerr Jr. in front of the net on the power play. Make him get 10 goals of dirty laundry garbage into the nets by goaltenders this season. That's how you get him uptick to 20 goals.
Yep. And then, of course, if we can get really good production out of Christian Jews and Madison Bowie, that's a bonus for the Washington Capitals this season. And that's a big factor right there as well for the Capitals. And of course, the Capitals also did have on a PTO Jyrki Jokipaka. He was cut earlier in the week. So that we gave a veteran guy a look,
and also you need X amount of veterans to play each of these games. So there was a couple of games early in the preseason where Barry Trotz wanted to look at a lot of young guys, but you needed X amount of guys with at least AHL experience in the lineup on these preseason games. They don't want teams just sending an AHL roster with junior guys up to a game which is charging at least half the full price for tickets for a preseason game. So NHL wants at least some guys that people can actually look in their programs. Oh, hey, he's on the team.
So with that, we've talked about the Capitals. Now, I've said it many times. I said it before. I seriously believe that it'll be Pittsburgh 1, Columbus 2 in the Metro Division. And then when you get to 3, 4, 5, it's going to be a massive toss-up between the Capitals, the Hurricanes, and the Philadelphia Flyers. I think those two teams specifically have improved the most in the Metro. That it will put a lot of pressure on the Capitals, especially the Caps hope to make the playoffs. It's going to push the Islanders down, and it's going to push the Rangers down, especially if the Rangers don't have a good season.
With the Rangers concerned, it's all about Zibanejad and Hayes. If those two centers can take up all they lost from a Derek Stepan and some of the loss that they had from some of their other centers in the past, if they can get some of that squared away, and Zibanejad and Hayes can take those upticks similar to what we think Kuznetsov and Burakovsky need to do for the Capitals, take those next level steps. I think Columbus is going to be down in that mess too. I just think, ever since the All-Star break, they were a 500 hockey team, and they're one Sergei Bobrovsky injury away from being falling down the wayside. To your point, Carolina, and I like saying New Jersey, even though they're probably a year away, their speed is going to give teams trouble. They might not win every night, but they are going to be a fast, exciting, more exciting team than they have been in years. Carolina and New Jersey are your two wild cards in the division. I think Philadelphia might be a year away just because they might be relying on a lot of young D. You might see Og and Sanheim and Moran and them.
To be
jumping
brutally
in, so.
honest, I think the Devils are 2 to 3 years away.
But their speed is going to give teams trouble.
Their offensive speed amongst Hall, Johansson, and Nico Heischer, yes. But they only have one defenseman right now, and that's Damon Severson. The rest are all minor league defensemen. Corey Schneider also needs to have a massive bounce back this season. I think the Devils will still be in the last place spot in the Metro Division. The Flyers, honestly, like, I love what Dave Haxall's doing with those Flyers. He turned Wayne Simmons from a 15-goal scorer to a 30-goal scorer.
Take notes, Barry Trotz.
You know, if Claude Giroux is fully healthy and he's going full cylinders, you know, that's going to be a dangerous Flyers team because Claude Giroux's going. Shane Gostisbehere having a bounce back after being injured last season, or not being fully 100% after having the groin surgery, which is the same one that Claude Giroux also had in the previous offseason as well. So I can see the Flyers doing a lot of good things in the Metropolitan Division. And here's the thing. I see the Washington Capitals either as the 3rd seed or as the 4th seed as a wild card. And I think it'll be the best thing for the Washington Capitals to go into the playoffs as the road team because it's something they've never done under Alex Ovechkin. And it will be a different look of it. It'll be a different set of adversity that this team will have to face going into the playoffs. But that's 82 games away. That is months away. So we can only predict and look into the future and kind of see what could potentially happen.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just it's a crapshoot. 82 games. It's a journey. It's just the first step of the journey too. You don't know what's going to come about, what hills, what valleys, who's going to get hurt, who's going to get traded, who's going to get suspended. It's going to be crazy. And it all starts Thursday night, boys and girls, in Canada, the capital of Canada, Ottawa. Erik Karlsson probably is not going to be on the ice, even though they give that perception he is. But honest to goodness, I mean, what he dealt with in the playoffs and what they did to his ankle in the offseason, taking a chunk out of it, I don't see him play. If the Ottawa Senators are smart, they don't play him for a couple weeks. I'd rather have a Erik Karlsson at full strength for 70 games than trying to rush him out opening night in a uniform and skates.
There's just way too much rushing guys out, man. It's like, let the guy fully heal. Let the guy be like fully 100% ready.
And there's something to the Thanksgiving thing that they always talk about where most all the teams that are in the playoffs are usually in the playoff positions or a point or two out of them around Thanksgiving, where you really start seeing separation and the pretenders from the contenders, with the rarity of the Montreal collapse when Carey Price got hurt a couple years ago.
Well, not only that, but almost Columbus lost it too because they started slumping in the last month or two.
Yeah, 500 team after the All-Star break. They were not. I mean, they were fortunate to get 5 games. They could have been swept. Of course, they could also have been up 2 games to none in Pittsburgh. They played very good that first period. They came out flying against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just counterpunched them for a period. And next thing you know, it was 3-0 Pittsburgh. You're like, oh, here we go again.
And then of course, as we're doing our little wrap up here, Bernie, I'll let you get the MCW stuff out of the way so I can do all the hockey stuff after.
Absolutely. MCW Tribute to the Legends 2. Joppa, Maryland. The flea market up here is buzzing. We have Gary Michael Capetta in the house. We have Bill Apter in the house. 2 of the most recognizable voices in media in wrestling history. We have Bill Goldberg. Yes, that Bill Goldberg who just a short 6 months ago was the WWE Universal Champion at WrestleMania facing Brock Lesnar. We have Christian, one half of Edge and Christian. We have the Steiner Brothers, one of the greatest tag teams in the history of professional wrestling. We have the Queen of Extreme, Francine, and Bubba Ray Dudley, Bully Ray. He's Bully Ray now in ROH. Bubba Ray Dudley in WWE and ECW lore. He's in the house signing autographs and taking pictures. The Raging Bull Manny Fernandez, NWA days. People loved the Mid-Atlantic and the Crockett back in the days. Willie himself with the Boogie Woogie Man with Paul Jones's Army. Former tag team champion with Dusty Rhodes. He's in the house today. And don't forget, at 6:30 tonight, there's a great action-packed MCW Pro Wrestling card, including a Stairway to Hell match where there'll be 4 trash cans full of every weapon that's not nailed down up in 4 trash cans around the ring. We're going to have an exposed turnbuckle match where all those nice padded things on top of the steel turnbuckles are being taken off. So it's almost like a steel cage match without the cage put on. Please tell me that's going to be something to see. A triple threat match for the Rage TV title with Greg Excellent, MJF, and Dante Caballero. And each one of them have a lady that definitely wants to get involved, whether it's an Alice McCleary, whether it's a Sahara 7, or whether it's a Mama Excellent. Yes, I said Mama Excellent's going to be in the house. If you aren't tuned in to Greg Excellent's Facebook page, Mama Excellent is a sight to see and a treasure to behold. Be here tonight. Tons of action. A bunkhouse battle royal for a future MCW title shot. You want to be here to meet the legends up until 4 o'clock and then get your butt back here. Also, Bill Goldberg's doing a Q&A at 2 o'clock right here in this arena. You might want to hear what he has to say. So be here. Joppa, Maryland. I think it's free with a ticket to the show tonight. $10 if you're just coming for the convention, and the tickets for general admission start as low, I think $15, $20. I think it's $20 for general admission for a great night of wrestling action. 6:30 bell time right here, Joppa, Maryland, Joppa Flea Market. Be here. I get in my Bernie D to Wrestling PhD mode. It's all said and done.
And then, of course, ladies and gentlemen, on October 28th, Sports Beyond Boundaries will be having their hockey tournament and family fun day. A lot of great things happening. They'll have an NHL auction, plus I can't talk about all the stuff, but if you go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/TXHT Hockey, we do have the banner up in the Eventbrite link, so you can go on and get more information on that day. And the game plan is TXHT live in Albany, Maryland at the hockey tournament and family fun day, brought to you by Sports Beyond Boundaries. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, on October 13th through 15th, you have Brandon Quinton Adams, who played Jesse Hall, Matt Daugherty, who played Les Averman, Vincent LaRusso, who played Adam Banks, Alex Ovechkin, Marcel Dion, Brian Tracci, Ed Jockman, Brett Hall, and so many more who are going to be at the CSA shows in Chantilly, Virginia that weekend. And when I start doing the MCW experience at around 12:15, we'll be announcing a bunch of wrestlers that will be there on this Saturday in Chantilly, Virginia. And if you want to win 2 weekend passes to the CSA show, email Donald at blake4av@aol.com. And that is Blake, the number 4, AV@aol.com to win 2 weekend passes to the show.
Give a big shout out to our owner and the WBGR radio network, Mr. Lionel Green, is doing some major things with the studio. Next week, you're going to see a lot of great stuff in that studio. That studio is
going to be a new look.
Off. And I'll tell you right now, Lionel has a vision and a blessing from the big man upstairs himself to make great things happen. You think you've seen something so far with the Experience Hockey Talk, with all the other stuff that WBGR produces in the gospel section and the sports section and now in the wellness section? You haven't seen nothing yet. So get here to Joppa, watch us on the Experience next week along with WBGR. And Michael, please take us off. I'm getting ready for the Experience, man. I'm getting ready for the next deal.
And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget that starting this week, we do our exclusive Patreon content. What could it be? We'll let you know soon when we have it available. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, you can do that by going to patreon.com/TXHT_hockey. Join the exclusive community today. And we already have next week's stuff planned out as well for our Patreon exclusive content. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, we thank you for viewing with us. And until next time, as Bill After said to me while we were doing the show, we will see you next time when we're pucking it up.
Oh my God.